Hello, all of you bold, beautiful, brilliant, and highly evolved souls. Today, I'm going to talk about the reality of living with a narcissistic parent. And this is a compilation of things I have seen as being a nanny. So one day you are sitting and you're playing some cards with your parents, with maybe your dad, and you're having some fun. And then you get frustrated because maybe one of your cars doesn't go the way you want it to. And you start to get a little upset and cry. And your father looks at you and says, "What's wrong with you? Why are you crying? You're being too dramatic." And then maybe you're a little girl and yeah, you're sitting on your playmat and you're building something, and your mother, you get a little bit frustrated because something's not going your way, and your mother just looks at you and says, "Come on," and she walks away. Or maybe you're a toddler and you're sitting at your high chair and you maybe you were just like, you're kind of finished with your food and you start playing with your food a bit, and maybe you're upset about something, and I don't know, you didn't like the potatoes and you start crying and you get upset, and your mother walks over to you and she says, "You're being annoying today." And she turns away and she walks over back to the oven where she's cooking her lunch. Or maybe you're 2 years old and you're trying to be helpful and you have your own little broom and you're trying to sweep, and your father comes over to you and says, "That's not how you sweep. What are you doing? You do it like this." And maybe you're feeling upset about something, and maybe you were really upset because you wanted to wear your red jacket, but your mommy tells you that your red jacket is in the wash. And so you're really upset. And your mother says, "You're overreacting." And then maybe a little while later, you're just sitting there eating your food, eating your dinner, and maybe you're playing with your peas and you're making a little picture with your peas and your carrots and your mother just looks at you and says, "You're a funny one," and again walks away. And maybe you're a child and you just got a new nanny, and you're feeling a bit nervous because you got this new nanny, and so you're kind of hesitant and maybe you're more sensitive and you're crying a little bit, and your mother says to you, "You're being a suck today. You don't have to be nervous." And maybe you're 18 months old and your parents are leaving and they're going out the front door and they're leaving you with their grandmother, and you start to cry, and your parents say to each other, they say, "Oh, he's being a suck. He's being such a suck." Or maybe you're about to go out, and you're leaving to go to school, and you're upset and you're crying, and your dad says to you, "You're being silly. You're just being too dramatic." Or maybe I have so many of these situations. Yeah, it is a constant barrage of shaming and invalidation and insults and snide comments and mocking, making fun of, gaslighting, goes on and on and on, day after day after day. And, yeah, maybe 50% of the time or 30% of the time, your narcissistic parent seems actually to be caring because they do have some sort of, I don't know, ability to pretend that they're caring, or playing with their child, or, reading them a story maybe. But it doesn't take longer than about 5 minutes, and that narcissistic parent is showing their true colors, and they're saying, they are shaming and blaming their child for having regular, normal human emotions. And growing up with that, you likely felt ashamed and terrified and exhausted, angry and sad, not to mention extremely lonely because nobody is connecting with you. And all the while, you're thinking that you're the failure, or that you're the one that's inadequate, or you're the one who's unworthy. You're the loser. You're the defective one. You're the despicable, terrible, bad child. But the truth is, your parent really had no business being a parent. Your parent had no capacity for empathy, no capacity to connect on an emotional level. They were completely shut down and unable to be there as a support and as a guide for you. They were unable to comfort you in your moments of pain and anguish, fear and sadness. And furthermore, they would have blamed you like it was your fault. That, yes, you were the one who was wrong. You were the one that was too sensitive. And this is what the highly sensitive person and scapegoat faces in their childhood. And make no mistake about it, it is a terrible and horrifying existence. If you can imagine being 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 years old and facing this day after day after day, it's like little darts being thrown in your heart. And day after day, they devalue you until you feel smaller and smaller and less important and less worthy day after day. And they grind you down and they squash you down and they don't let you speak up. They ignore you and dismiss you. And until you believe in their reality, that you are nothing, that you are worthless, and that you are only there to please them. And you become a people pleaser because it's the only way that you can survive this horrifying childhood. Horrifying because you are completely dependent on these parents for your survival. I just want to get, I think I'm just getting across the severity of this in myself. It has taken me years, the last few years, to unravel the denial. And I won't be surprised if it comes back again. But in these moments of clarity, when I can really picture what my inner child, Donna, must have gone through, yeah, it was a terrible childhood. Not just it wasn't so bad, or sure, my parents provided quite well for me materially and physically. I always had food, clothes. My parents lived a fairly like seemingly, if you would have come into our house, it would have been organized and clean, and no one would have guessed no one would have guessed that the parents were treating their children like this. And that by the time you're, about 4 or 5 years old, as Peter Walker also said, the damage has already been done. And now you are subservient, submissive, and you're completely brainwashed to be that codependent, be that people pleaser, in order to keep your parents comfortable, make sure that they don't think that they're a bad parent. You want to make them think that they're doing a good job, and that they're enough. But the truth is that they were never enough for you. They were inadequate as parents for you. And I recognize that they are also children of God, and we cannot say that they were bad or not enough, because I guess in God's eyes, they were okay as human beings. But you can say that, no, these parents, God, these parents were not enough for me. These parents were not safe enough for me. They were not healthy enough for me. And my life has been really, my development was, I don't know how to say this, like, it was very detrimental to my development as a human being. And it is extremely hard to come out of this. It takes an extreme amount of strength and resilience and awareness. And just to survive narcissistic abuse takes extreme emotional intelligence. So that is what I wanted to say and express today. And if it helps anyone out there, I'm glad. Yeah, and I am Davina, and I am wishing you many blessings on your journey of healing and awakening. Thank you for watching. You can find me at Boldness Blooming.